right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 1, very first episode of the IRL podcast. I got myself, MPN Evolution here.
My name is Austin Leopard.
There you go. So, basically, this podcast is just going to be just topics about life. You know, just normal, daily people doing daily things, and just popular topics or things to just kind of discuss whenever we get together. So really the reason why we've started this podcast is, you know, we're content creators trying to grow a channel, trying to bring everybody the most content that we can, the best quality that we can. And we went ahead and made an investment on the computer, the microphones, camera, the whole works here to really go all in and, try to provide the best content that we can as a team. So a little bit about us. I'll start first since I've done the majority of the talking. My name's Ryan Ayers. You can follow me on Twitter at MPN Evolution. I started gaming really on the regular Xbox. Even before that, you know, I had an N64 and all that, but it was the Xbox that really got me into online gaming. Halo was the big game that I played a lot, from Halo 1 all the way up through to Halo 5 now. And then Call of Duty 4 is when I really started playing Call of Duty, and that's kind of taken over my life, and my peak interest in gaming now is Call of Duty. I've owned every single Call of Duty after that, played it all online. Did a little bit of competitive gaming back on Black Ops 1. And now I just really follow competitive Call of Duty, the CDL, and everything, which we'll talk about here in just a bit. But that's kind of what got me into gaming. Now I play pretty much every console. I got the Nintendo Switch sitting here, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and plan on getting all the new consoles as they come out later this year. So pretty much anything gaming related I've get my hands into. So that's a little bit about me. I'll pass it off over to Austin here, and he can tell you a little bit about himself.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. So my name is Austin Leopard. I'm not from where Ryan lives at currently. I'm from a town called Muscatine, Iowa, or I live in a smaller town than that. It's called Fruitland, Iowa. Most of you probably never even heard of that before. Me and Ryan actually, we graduated from the same high school, Eloise, Muscatine. I currently reside in Cedar Rapids. I go to COD College in Cedar Rapids, and I am a kinesiology major. Right now, I'm trying to go to be a physical education teacher. But, I mean, like Ryan said, you know, I'm trying to make an investment in growing a big channel, you know, so to one day we can just strictly bring out content. So that's kind of why we're trying to start this today. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been involved in sports and athletics and stuff like that. So that's kind of what drew me to physical education to this day. As for gaming, I have not come from like that big of a background when it comes to gaming. I'm a lot younger than Ryan, and he's played on like the Nintendo Switch, or he's played on like the N64, where I just played on Xbox. I've been playing on Xbox since I was, you know, just a little kid, since the Xbox 360, and I've only strictly played on Xbox ever since then. Currently, I've been a big player of Fortnite. I enjoy playing Fortnite. It's been one of the things that I've been like I do when I'm not in class, or things of that nature. I also have been really getting into Modern Warfare recently, so I've been finding those two games really fun to play. I put in a lot of time and I put in a lot of effort, and, you know, getting good at those games in order to make sure that for when this channel actually takes off, we have enough like content, that we're good enough players in order to keep the content rolling out. So yeah, I would say that's where I came from.
Yeah, different backgrounds in gaming, that's for sure. And I think that's what's going to really make this podcast so unique. You know, you'll get a little bit of a glimpse of maybe some old school gaming that I was a part of, and now, or what I guess you would consider old school.
Yeah.
And then kind of see it from your point of view too, where really, I mean, the technology revolution of online gaming took off already before you got really involved, and people being able to hear both sides of that, I think, is going to make this podcast particularly interesting. Now, the nice thing about the IRL podcast is that, I mean, it does stand for in real life, because you're going to hear a lot of topics in the future about things just going on in the world, or how our generation kind of sees these things, and how we feel about them. And so as we continue to progress through this podcast, we'll have a lot of different topics. It won't always be about gaming, but this particular one is, because we have a big event coming up tomorrow. We've been counting down now for weeks.
Yeah, we've had this in mind for quite some time, since you eventually told me about it. Like, I don't even know, maybe before December.
Yeah, I mean,
around that time.
Pretty much since the end of the Call of Duty World League last year, I was following that. And I knew that they were going to be doing something different with the franchising, and now it's called the Call of Duty League. Now that it's franchised, and they have city teams now, which is brand new. Everything that they're doing this year has never been done before as far as Call of Duty goes. And so I've been really excited since the end of last season to see what they're going to do with it. And then you and I have really started gaming together again, and I was talking to you about it, and that's what sparked your interest. And so I've been to a lot of smaller events. I've never been to what used to be an MLG event, or now is obviously the very first ever CDL event is tomorrow. And from the minute I told you about it, you were in.
Mm-hmm.
And it took until pretty much you showed up here tonight. Literally, for those watching, I mean, he just rolled up a couple hours ago. It's now 2:30 Central Time here in the morning, and he just got here not that long ago. So dedication, and I really didn't believe it was going to happen until you showed up in the driveway, got out.
Taking the day off from school tomorrow, I said, screw that, be going to Call of Duty, watch some high quality gameplay tomorrow. But kind of like what Ryan was talking about earlier, I have zero experience with this. Like, I only know very few of the players that will be there tomorrow, so it's going to be just as much a new experience as it is for him as for me as well. So it's definitely going to be one of the most exciting trips when it comes to gaming, considering the fact that it's just brand new to this year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. We're going to be there all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's going to be a lot of fun, honestly. And even for a person like me that doesn't know all the people, I'm still looking forward to watching some like high quality gameplay. Obviously there's some big name streamers that'll be there, and so it's going to be exciting to be able to see those guys, in real life. Which is kind of what this podcast is about.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be, the thing that attracts me so much to competitive esports is like, these people live normal lives like we do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, some of them, have made quite a bit of money, but there's still some that have something to prove, and it's their first year competing at a professional level, and they're not necessarily making millions of dollars right now. So literally when they go home, they live normal lives like you and I. And so you sit and you watch them on stream and stuff, and they're really popular, and they've achieved so much, and some of them at a very young age. But now when you see them in person, you're really going to realize, like, they grind just like the rest of us on Call of Duty, and they go home and that's all they do is play that game and get better at it. And they're not like unreachable celebrities, although we see them as celebrities. They're gamers just like you and I, and they understand that, and they connect with the fans probably better than any sort of celebrity that I can think of as far as like professional sports goes. And that's what's so cool to me, is they're just normal people, living a life, and they understand that, and that they, like I said, they just connect with their fans on a whole new, like, personable level. Even during their streams they do, but in person they do a great job of that. So again, this is the first CDL event ever. It's in Minneapolis, a couple hours further north from here, and we're going to be there for the whole weekend. So what's exciting and what's going to make this whole weekend, because we're going to be recording this video or this podcast probably won't be released until we get back.
Yep.
But what's going to be exciting is we're going to release the podcast, and then we're going to be vlogging all weekend.
Yeah.
And so what I'm looking forward to is not only doing all that and creating that content, but like getting your reaction at your first ever event like this. You know, I was at semi-pro amateur event, whatever you want to call it, up there at Mystic Lake, which isn't too far from the Armory, which is where this event is happening at. And just seeing those players and meeting some of those people that I connected with through on Twitter and stuff like that. It was also where the Minnesota Rocker team was announced, was at this event that I went to. But what I'm getting at is going to an amateur event like that, I was in such awe at like the display, the lights, the main stage, the players, all of that. Now to see that done on a professional level, and somebody like you that's never even seen the amateur level
I'm
side of it,
I'm getting straight in with the big dogs.
you're going straight in. Thousands of people, full packed house. They were closing in on selling out. I don't know if they did or not, but I mean, you're jumping straight in.
Yeah. I'm just like seeing like former Optic players. Like I like growing up when I started playing Modern Warfare 2. Optic was a pretty big deal at the time. So, you know, seeing a lot of former Optic players will be there. I'll recognize them somewhat. But yeah, I'll probably be really flabbergasted and just in awe being able to see all those professional gamers out there and you know, watching them play against each other tomorrow. I also just learned the format. Like I didn't even know the format of how this works. So apparently it's hard point, domination, and S&D. Is that correct?
Yep.
Best of 5 each one. So there's gonna be a lot of gameplay just like strictly tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we get that over a span of 3 days.
I don't know, like if you were thinking, because I told you that and you seemed surprised.
Yeah.
Were you thinking it was like one game each?
I honestly thought it was just S&D.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I guess we could talk a little bit about too. You and I started playing on Players Lounge, which is like a form of like CMG, UMG game battles, right? It's a competitive website. You play, you can put wager matches up or whatever. So we've been playing these 2v2 gunfight tournaments, and really that was like your first major foot in the door of like a competitive style
Yeah,
gaming.
definitely.
And you know, thinking about that and like hearing you say that you get nerves when you play in a match like that, which is the same thing I used to get too, and it still do. I can't imagine what these guys are gonna feel like tomorrow.
Oh
on that
yeah,
main
like
stage.
in front of thousands of people with thousands and thousands of dollars on the line.
Yeah,
You know, they got their brand on the line, they got their name on the line. It's more than just winning and losing when it comes to them. You know, they gotta still spread their brand. They still gotta make a name for themselves. Obviously, some of them already have the big names, but people are there tomorrow to make names of themselves. So, you know, the best way to do that is just go out there and win it.
There's a lot of young kids, 18, 19-year-olds, that are definitely doing exactly what you just said. You know, they're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to prove that they are worth the investment that these teams have now put into them. There's a lot of people that were playing professionally last year that aren't playing on a team this year just because there's only 12 teams right now. But, I mean, some of these, what you would call kids, the 18, 19-year-olds, took spots of former professional players, you know. So they're going to go out there tomorrow, 18, 19 years old, playing professional Call of Duty. The best Call of Duty you will see in the world, these kids are about to do tomorrow. So they absolutely have a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, yeah. And I guarantee you they're probably going to be a lot nervous.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
18, 19-year-olds, you know, you're going to be nervous as it is already. But then they should be thrown in with the big dogs and thrown thousands of people. You know, everyone of those people is paying good money to go watch good matches tomorrow.
And,
you know, and that's what they're kind of hoping to get.
And, like, we were talking before the podcast started, like, the noise in the background, like the crowd is going to be so amped up. They're going to be cheering their teams on, and the players can hear that to an extent. Like, that's all going to go inside your head when you're out there trying to perform at your best. You know, that's crazy. I know what's interesting is, like, the competitor series, which is like the semi-pro or amateur level. They're also putting on a tournament there, like for those players at the Armory this weekend, and the winning team takes home like $250,000.
Yeah, that's
and,
astounding.
And I don't know if I've seen a price for the winning professional team yet.
It's gonna be a lot.
But what's really interesting to me is like these players, when they do the interviews and stuff leading up to this event, they really haven't been talking about how much money's going to be made. It's always been representing their brand.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's even more than the money. I feel like, you're making a name. You want to try to go out there and make a name for yourself, and who knows where that could lead when you're a big known player.
And I think that's where, and you might not know this as much as I do, but I think that's where the city branding really helps. Like the Minnesota Rocker, the Chicago Huntsman.
I would like that a lot more than just having like just optic or thing like that. It's actually putting it in a category with like other sports.
Yeah, and I think that's the direction that they're trying to take.
I think this is probably the best step they could probably take.
And you just hear all these interviews, and these players are just like, I want to represent my team, which, they want to represent the city that they're playing for.
Yeah, so they're representing more than just, the team themselves. They're representing the city, like just like how I represent the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Huntsmen are going to be out there repping the same thing that they are. So it's going to be like it's going to feel like it's going to have a different aspect to it now that they, like have collabed with the cities.
Yeah, I think that what I'm going to be looking forward to the most, obviously other than watching the gameplay, right? There's some big name matches on the line. Right out of the gate is Chicago versus Dallas, which there's already been a pre-rivalry of that with Crim 6, formerly of Optic, and then you have Scump and formerly of Optic, playing against each other. Clayster is on the Dallas Empire team as well, and he's kind of been known for his smack talk, and most of it's out of fun because these guys are professionals. But what I'm interested most, other than the gameplay, is to see like how many people travel to represent their favorite team. So like if you had the Minnesota Vikings, for instance, they play like the LA Chargers this last year, and you get people that either fly in from LA for some reason or fly in from a different city that maybe they're from LA or whatever, but you see people with Chargers gear on in Minneapolis, and you don't think like you would see a lot of that, right? Because that's such a far way away.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many people are going to be representing other teams in Minneapolis. I mean, on Twitter, I'm connected with a lot of the Minneapolis crowd, obviously because I live in the area, but I'm interested to see like Atlanta FaZe, how many FaZe fans are going to be there tomorrow with gear on, and representing their favorite organization, or the Dallas Empire is another one. How many people? Because I've seen photos on Twitter already of like people flying in from these cities, and they're like, holy crap, it's so cold, there's so much snow, like I didn't even pack a jacket.
Yeah, they're not even used to this kind of environment at all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a Paris team that?
Yeah, the Paris Legion, I believe, is the team name. They'll be there. They're playing this weekend as well. I think 2 matches throughout the weekend.
Really? So not only is like these teams invested in just the U.S., but there's actually a team in another country.
There's the Paris Legion. There's the London Royal Ravens out of England, and the Toronto Ultra from Canada.
Really? See that? I think that's how, it just shows that esports is really starting to spread. Like, it's not really just contained in a certain chunks of area, but like now it's starting to show that esports is really starting to take that bigger leap and starting to compete with those other high-end professional sports.
Yeah, I think last year, CWL London, when they all traveled over to London and played, I think that was like one of the most rowdiest crowds that they've had. I remember them talking during the broadcast, like these people are going crazy. They love esports over here. And so to see them come back on board and stick with it was pretty cool to see. And I think that's the next event after Minneapolis is London, and then they come to Chicago in April.
I already Already bought my plane ticket
Yeah, to London.
to London.
You're going over. I just got my passport, so if you want to do this, I'm in. I wonder how long of a flight that is from here.
I have no idea. I've never flown before.
We could fly out of Cedar Rapids right there.
I'm excited. You know, I'm really excited for Chicago. We got some big plans for Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just the beginning for everybody. It's the beginning of the season. It's beginning of our YouTube channel, our content creation. And we got some big plans. We got another friend that's saying he wants to be involved in all this too. I mean, for how much we've accomplished in such a small amount of time with 2 people, I think bringing a third person on board would be pretty good. He couldn't make it this weekend, but for future projects, I think that'll help out a lot.
Definitely.
And it's going to be more than just the podcast. There's going to be a lot of vlogging and doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, we plan to just have like a mixture of kind of everything. Like we'll have gameplay of Modern Warfare. Like we play in a lot of 2v2 gunfight match or tournaments all the time. We also want to vlog, so we're gonna vlog this trip. And we also just plan on like having clips from your stream on there as well. So it's not just gonna be strictly just Call of Duty gameplay. It's gonna be a lot of other things. You're gonna get us to see us in real life and all these other kind of things, like a different aspect to content creating is what I'm trying to get at. That's
why I think the IRL is a perfect name for us, because you look at people from Iowa or the Midwest in general and you think, they don't really do anything fun, right? You see all these vloggers in LA and Texas and Florida where it's always so nice out, you know. But I mean, we get out, we can do some stuff in Iowa for sure. We can do a lot of different fun stuff and make videos out of it. So I think that's what makes us so unique is we live what you would call a normal life, right? Work Monday through Friday and then playing after that. And I think, that's where you're going to get a lot of some good content is whenever we get together, it's a special occasion and it's worth vlogging and we're going to make the most out of it.
Definitely.
So as we continue to meet up, we'll be doing vlogging and just kind of some fun planned stuff. Obviously, the podcast we'll try to get in every time we can.
Yeah.
I actually, looking around with the setup, I mean, you could take this anywhere. We can meet up in Chicago in a hotel room and do a podcast. Really. Few mics, laptop, got a light and a camera. We could set this up in a hotel room. What do you think?
I mean, that sounds like a great idea to me.
So, I mean, we could do a podcast pretty much anywhere. And obviously the gameplay clips we'll squeeze in.
Yeah.
With some of our tournament matches and stuff like that, or just having a good time. We'll make sure to upload that to the channel as well. So, although we're gamers, we do other things, and we'll kind of show you and talk about that stuff in our future content.
Yeah.
So really the last thing, which I guess I can kind of cover, is predictions for this weekend. And I'll say it to you just so you kind of know what to watch for at this event, because I'm gonna capture your face when we walk into that venue and you see all the banners and all the lights and the main stage.
Yeah, it's gonna be surreal for me.
The amount of people that's gonna be there. I mean, it's gonna be a packed house and it's gonna be
awesome.
But some predictions. I mean, match number 1 Friday afternoon, right out of the gate. We're just gonna get up there, checked into the hotel. Then we're gonna run down to the Armory, and it's gonna be the Chicago Huntsmen versus the Dallas Empire. And I just talked about it a few minutes ago, but that is such a match that I've been wanting to see. I can't believe it's going to be the very first match of the weekend, and it's going to be one that I believe they just announced on Twitter tonight that they're going to be live streaming the event on YouTube, so anybody can watch.
Interesting.
From at home. And I know that this is probably going to be uploaded afterwards, but you can go back and rewatch it. That is a match everybody will want to see, for obvious reasons with that rivalry that I talked about. But as far as skill level goes too, I mean, a lot of early predictions, what you would consider the preseason rankings. It had Dallas at number 2 and Chicago at number 3. So that's a really good matchup right out of the gate.
Who do you have at number 1, or what were they ranked? Or who was the number 1 ranked team?
Atlanta FaZe was the number 1 team, and then the Minnesota Rocker was 4, And then the New York Subliners were 5.
Is the Atlanta FaZe there this weekend?
Yeah, they're number 1.
Well, I know. I was just making sure. Like,
Oh yeah, they're playing this weekend
Yeah.
for sure. All 12 teams will be there this weekend.
yeah, you just seem so jacked up about that one. I just didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
will the Atlanta FaZe play the Chicago Huntsmen? Will the Atlanta FaZe play the?
I don't know who they play this weekend. I have it on my phone here, so I
Is
can
there
look
like a
it up.
set, or are these like a set matchup kind of thing, or is it like a tournament kind of style?
No, nope. It's a set matchup. So every team plays twice, I believe, and there's already predetermined teams. So it looks like the FaZe, they play Saturday against the Dallas Empire, so number 1 versus number 2.
See, that's what I'm saying. You guys got a even bigger matchup right there.
And then Sunday they play the New York Subliners, so it'd be the number 1 versus the number 5 team essentially, which will still be a good match.
matchup. Yeah.
Yeah. After that, I think was the Surge would have been 6, Seattle Surge, which I personally really like that team. I think that they're definitely up there as far as talent-wise. They have Karma, which used to be on the Optic Dynasty team. They have Octane, which is arguably the best AR last game on Black Ops 4. And then they have Slacked, who I'm personally a big fan of. He was a really good SMG player for Luminosity last year, and I was a big fan of his. So they got a pretty stacked team over there on Seattle, and they're going to be doing some good things too this year, I think.
Yeah, even though I have little knowledge about these teams, if I had to choose one team that I probably would root for, or I'm looking forward to most this week, it's probably the Chicago Huntsmen, I would say. I'm a big Chicago fan as it is, and I know 2 of the players on that team, so it's more than any other teams that I've that are there. I know of Scum from his days in Optic and Formal. I actually follow both of them on Twitch, so I've actually watched their live streams a few times. So yeah, I'll probably be rooting for the Huntsmen this weekend.
They're definitely 2 of the OG players in Call of Duty right now, and arguably the best players to ever play Call of Duty, both of them in their respective field. Scump being a SMG and Formal being an AR player. Probably, I would argue that they're the best at both of those classes. Plus, they could arguably be best of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Serious. Like, I think the term GOAT gets thrown around a lot now, but seriously, these 2 are the GOATs of Call of Duty.
No, yeah. See, those are the kind of guys that, when you think of Optic, those are the guys that helped build that brand as what it was.
Absolutely, and competitive Call of Duty in general.
Oh yeah.
Formal used to play Halo competitively, and he made the jump over to Call of Duty because he saw it was starting to gain momentum and build, and he wanted to be a part of that, and certainly has the following that of fans from Halo that came over to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
To where I think he did make a big difference for
Definitely.
Call of Duty's fan base at that time. And so, they're getting older in their careers as far as gaming goes, but their Twitch streams and everything has really taken off, and they're going to be around for a long time, for sure.
I'd say they kind of set the road for future gamers, So like when they want to pass, not when they want to specifically pass it down, but like they've inspired a lot of people to become content creators and like play Call of Duty competitively. They look up to these people just like how people look up to celebrities and professional sports athletes.
Absolutely.
That's how people that are involved in esports look at how Scump and Formal have made such an impact on esports today.
Well, and that brings up another interesting topic is we were talking about this at work the other day where, it's interesting ever since the Fortnite World Cup, and I'm sure you know what that is, being a Fortnite player. But you look at that, right, and what was it? Booga won that, and was he 16 or something like that?
Yeah, he was still in high school during that time. He was close to that 16-year-old range.
So after he won that, and he won $1 million or whatever that prize pool was.
I think might have $2 million or some
So literally, I never ever even touched Fortnite, but I did watch a little bit of that World Cup, mainly because 100 Thieves had a duo playing, I believe, in there, and I wanted to watch them. But what we were talking about at work was how it's going to be interesting in the next few years to 10 years or whatever, how kids like you and I growing up, we idolize professional NFL players or NBA players or MLB players or whatever sport you're into, to where now kids growing up are idolizing people like Booga, who was 16 and won.
Yeah.
He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Scump and Formal being competitive Call of Duty players, and it's going to be interesting to watch and see if that changes. I believe it will, to where kids are now, they're glued to the phone as it is anymore and watching live streams or YouTube videos or whatever, but it's going to be interesting to see how many go from, wanting to be in the NFL or the NBA or any professional sport, and how many start to turn and make that change into looking at becoming a professional gamer.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really going to be noticeable in the next few years. Heck, I'm 26 years old and I still want to be a professional gamer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, every time I play Call of Duty or the new Call of Duty comes out every year, I think, this is my game.
Yeah.
I'm going pro in this,
Yeah.
baby. It never happens, obviously. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many kids start to grow up and really start looking at esports being a living, making a living out of it.
That's been kind of a controversy going around, that, is esports actually a sport? Is it something like that? In one of my classes at COD, we've actually had many people write on esports regarding whether it actually should be categorized as a sport. But I don't usually look at it like that. I kind of view it as like its own like little subcategory, but I would still view it as, it's called an esport for a reason. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. But yeah, I think that it's just people like Booga, and I don't know if I should say Tfue, because he's not really kid friendly on his streams. But like, they paved the way for like future like Twitch streamers or like Fortnite players, especially Booga, I would say. He's really inspires a lot of other kids to become a World Cup champion. Not only for the fact that they make money, but like I was mentioning earlier, how they just want to build a name for themselves and have a lifetime career set for them.
Well, even people like Ninja, he's kind of, I don't know if I'd say he's in the older category of streamers yet, but he's not Booga's age either.
He's been around for a while.
Yeah, he's been around for quite a while, but now you look at somebody like Ninja, who has a skin in the game, in Fortnite, right? So kids see that.
Yeah.
They're buying that.
Yeah.
He's got his own Adidas brand.
Yep.
With his shoes, and he makes like jackets.
Sponsored by
and
Red
stuff.
Bull.
Yeah. I mean, even though he's not necessarily like a competitive player, kids are still watching him and are saying, I want to be the next Ninja.
Yeah.
And so even if it's not competitive esports, they're going to be involved in gaming one way or another, whether it's streaming or content creating or professional gaming or whatever. These kids are really going to start looking at that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of the same way with, like, is esport a sport? I don't really think of that too much or debate
I don't
on
usually
that.
think of that.
Unless you've done it competitively, and I've only done it on like what I would consider an amateur level or semi-pro level. But until you've put in those hours and you've put in that strategy and you've watched that film and you've been on that stage and you've went through that stress and the headache and the working as a team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it is a form of a sport. Now, just because it doesn't have contact in it doesn't mean that that's a sport. I mean, I call NASCAR a sport too, and there's no contact.
No
with
physical.
that. Yeah. People say, oh, you're just driving a car. Well, there's a lot more to it than
You're
that.
just driving a car. Yeah.
And so I would say, esports is kind of that same way. I don't think that sports need to be viewed as there has to be contact for it to be a sport.
Yeah, and kind of going, piggybacking off that, is that not only that, they're still grinding several hundreds of hours,
They don't give you the term sweaty for no reason. I mean,
Yeah,
you really
yeah.
do sweat
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
physical level when you're playing like
people
that.
always talk about how these athletes are, they're getting in, their hours of working out or in their practice. Well, it's no different than gaming. You're just going out there, you're playing, like in Fortnite, you're playing scrims all the time. You're playing an arena, just trying to get up there, trying to get up in rank. Those are just some examples. Or like in Call of Duty, you're just joining a pubs match and just stomping some pubs
Yeah.
or anything like that.
And I've been watching a lot of like behind the scenes type stuff, and really the competitive gamers, the professional gamers, they don't live much of a different lifestyle than a professional athlete anymore. They grind the game for 8 hours at least a day, where they're setting up scrims with other teams or whatever. And then a lot of them, they're going to the gym, and just because they're not ripped out of their mind, I
Yeah.
mean, they're staying healthy.
Yeah.
They they understand the importance of, a healthy mind or healthy body in general, getting the right amount of sleep every night.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier too. Like, these guys are going to bed at like 9 o'clock tonight to go out there and perform in the morning.
At a high level tomorrow. Yeah.
So, I mean, they still have a pretty rigorous schedule. It's not like they're just sitting there eating chips all day and
Playing video games, getting up,
yeah,
not doing anything else for the rest of the day. Like
when they're not streaming or they're not scrimming, they're at the gym or they're out being, some sort of activity or with their family or
with
whatever.
their community or some sort. Yeah, they're always putting in, they're always putting in some effort towards their brand or towards their name. So yeah, there's a lot more to it than just sitting behind a computer all day and playing video games. You're going out there. You got to realize that you still have to live a healthy lifestyle. You have a family to take care of, or in some cases you have a family to take care of. You have friends to be with, so they all live normal lives. And I feel like sometimes that can be kind of like really like overseen in a way. People
Yeah.
only see them as their gaming personality, but people got to realize that they have a personality outside of gaming too. They have real lives outside of gaming.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, I want to take just a minute to talk about our sponsors, or our sponsor for the podcast this evening, the Merciless Pros Network gaming community. So let's give a shout out to them real quick, and we'll come back. So I just want to take a little bit of time to give a special shout out to this podcast sponsor. That would be the Merciless Pros Network gaming community. If you haven't heard of us by now, I'm representing some of the gear here. But we are a gaming community that strives to create a fun and safe gaming environment for all of our members across the entire world. So we recruit new members for games such as Apex Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Monster Hunter World. The list goes on. We got COD mobile groups, Pokemon Go, any game that you can think of, we play. And we are always accepting new members. It's free to join. And we just ask you join our Discord server, come in and have some fun with our members. We offer exclusive perks such as like a military rank progression system within our community, tournaments, giveaways. The list goes on and on. We are doing an Apex Legends tournament on Saturday, January 25th. And, we just have a lot of fun together. We're a group of members, over 300 strong now. And we're looking for more people to join. So, again, thank you so much for the gaming community to sponsor the IRL podcast. You can find out more information on what MPN is up to by visiting www.mpnlive.net. Again, PS4, Xbox, PC, mobile, doesn't matter. You can join today by visiting mpnlive.net and create a quick free profile on there and click the Join MPN page tab to get started. Join us today, mpnlive.net. All right, let's get back to the podcast. All right, so again, shout out to MPN for sponsoring the podcast tonight. Much appreciated. As they're helping this channel take off as well, and the members of that community, supporting what we're doing and giving us feedback. And I'm sure we'll have some of them on the podcast or in our videos at some way or another. So special thanks to them. So I got a couple of more topics here to discuss before we wrap up our first episode. Circling back to visiting Minneapolis this weekend, earlier this evening we were talking. I went up to the Mall of America not that long ago, Is actually when I went to the Vikings game. They played the Lions toward the end of the regular season, and after that was the first time I visited U.S. Bank, which I can go on a rant for an hour just talking about how great that place was. But I went to the Mall of America, and I was surprised that they had an esports lounge there.
Yeah,
And
I would. That's absolutely crazy to think about. You
So
don't see that around here.
before we went to the break, obviously we were talking about esports a lot, and I was amazed to see that. You don't see that around here at
Yeah,
all.
you don't. Yeah.
So it caught me completely off guard. It was called Wumbo Esports or something like that. And I went in there. There was a gentleman that kind of just walked around and talked to the people. You go in there and you just play. All you have to do, I think, was sign up on their website.
Did you play for free?
I think so, or it was like $5 or just something ridiculously
Yeah.
cheap.
Is that a PC or was it?
They had
console?
everything. Everything
Really?
there. They had PCs, Xboxes,
What
and
kind of games did
PS4.
they have? All different kinds of games as well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of like Fortnite, Apex, Madden, those kind of games. Call of Duty was on the PS4s too.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to get like a like a small crowd, formed together and just playing like together.
Yeah,
Mm. For a cheap cost apparently too.
it wasn't very busy when we first got there, but by the time we left, I mean, most of the gaming stations were filling up, and it's groups of friends just going to the mall to hang out, and they take an hour out of their time to have some fun. It's hard to get 4 PS4s in one house like the
Yeah.
old LAN parties used to be.
Definitely.
And it sucks to split screen, obviously, for obvious reasons, but so it's a spot for the kids or adults to go to and play all at the same time against each other, or,
Yeah, I
or
think that's a great way
as
to
a
spread,
team.
esports as a sport itself. Being allowing kids to come in and just play for at least like a cheap cost and be able to play. Some of those kids maybe don't get to afford having a PS4. Sometimes we might take that for granted. We just have an Xbox or you have a PS4 and you have a PC. Those kids just get to go in and just get to play. I think it's a great investment for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think a lot of the equipment there, like the chairs, they had gaming chairs, and the setups, like the monitors and the consoles, I think they were all like donated, and all they asked was
even
like,
better then, yeah.
they had like a tag on the chair, like what company gave it to them or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, I think the consoles were Best Buy and the monitors, and then the gaming chair was an actual gaming chair company. And the cool thing was they made it went from like cheaper gaming chair all the way to Lazy Boy gaming chair. And I have their card, actually, their magnet on my fridge still of who made those chairs. But yeah, they had like a couch set too that they
Really?
make. I mean, you can get pretty expensive pretty quick, but that was super cool. And so it kind of exposes their brand a little bit, and that's all they asked for. They had a stream set up there, and I asked the guy, because I was looking at it, obviously, being a streamer, I was interested in that. And they had all top-of-the-line equipment there for their stream. They had 2 stream setups right next to each other. So I asked the guy, I'm like, I mean, who streams here? Does anybody? And he said, well, they have celebrities come in and stream off their setup. And they had some Minnesota Timberwolves players have been in there streaming. Vikings players were in there streaming. And just kind of celebrities that come in that are in town
Mm-hmm.
for the weekend or whatever. They'll come in and just stream video games right there on the setup. They had this nice back wall behind them with like a projector and stuff. And then monitors. They had the biggest mix amps I've ever seen to control all the audio stuff. It's just a fantastic setup. I mean, everything you could want in gaming was set up there. And I don't know how long their lease is in the mall or anything like that, but it's well worth it. If anybody there watching this podcast, keep it there, because that place it was awesome. It was really cool to see. And that, like I said, we were talking about esports and gaming in general, and seeing that following come to the Midwest finally.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like we said, I mean, you don't see that around here.
Yeah.
So to have that finally here, it has been awesome to see, like the support that everybody's been showing.
Kind of going off that a little bit, I noticed that you talked about celebrities having come in. I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't there a celebrity coming this weekend? I think it's Carl Anthony Towns, isn't it? Of the Minnesota Wolves, isn't he coming down to this event?
Yeah, he is. If I see him, I'll have to give him some crap about losing to Chicago the other night. But yeah, he'll be there. He's gonna be doing a 2v2 gunfight. They're gonna do that like on Saturday, I think it is, and he'll be one of the celebrities.
Yeah, so that'd
in
be
that
pretty cool. So
2v2.
not only is this, not only is just like a strict, sweaty thing, but it's giving also people a chance to see like a really well-known celebrity around there. And
Well, he's been on the Courage and Nade Shot show, and he talked himself up on how good he was at Call of Duty. Him and Andrew Wiggins, both
Ooh.
are pretty good
yeah,
at Call of Duty. And I remember saying to my screen when I was watching that, I was saying, well, you should tell Wiggins to work on that jump shot more instead of playing Call of Duty, because we could really use it this year. It's gone poorly for us. But no, it's all fun. It'll be really cool to see him there.
Yeah.
When I was up there for that semi-pro tournament at Mystic Lake, I played against Eric Kendricks and Madden.
Really?
And the guy was amazing, super nice guy, down to earth. Again.
So were you like face to face with him?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we sat right next to each other and we played Madden off one monitor, and it was projected up on the main stage. I got pictures all over social media of it. It was probably the coolest gaming experience I've had in my life.
Wow.
And it fits so well into the name of this podcast, the IRL, because when you meet somebody like that, that you think they live this totally different, immaculate life.
Mm-hmm.
And other than he had 2 bodyguards for some reason, and a guy his size doesn't need bodyguards. But he had 2 people there acting as security, probably just so he didn't get mobbed with autographs and stuff. But other than that, I mean, the guy, he talks to you like a normal person, super nice guy, easy to carry a conversation with. And Carl Anthony Towns seems to be that same exact way. So to see him this weekend, hopefully we can see him. I don't know if we'll necessarily meet him, but to just see him out of his NBA atmosphere and into the Call of Duty thing is going to be really cool.
If we definitely meet him, promise we'll have a lot of pictures on social media.
Oh, yeah.
At MPN Evolution, at Austin Leopard on Twitter. But, yeah, just kind of going off that as well. I've also noticed that there's actually a lot of professional, like, sports players, like NFL players, that have actually taken up some, like, I know it's kind of a jokes, but, like, I streamed it before. So, I mean, that could, like, bring up, like, an interesting conversation about, how are they also spreading their brand in the scheme of esports, you know what I mean? So, I don't know if you guys remember this, but, like, Celebrity Drake, he owns currently the most viewed Twitch clip of all time regarding with Ninja, because they played together at one point. It was a while ago. But I also know a few of some superstars like in the NFL, like Kyle Long, who plays for the Chicago Bears. He actually streams quite frequently playing Fortnite and several other different kind of games. Me and my buddies have watched them play any sort of games for quite some time now. So it just brings up an interesting conversation about how they could, how not only are they trying to impact their lives on the field as a football player, as their sport, but also in a different aspect as well. So they're just trying to reach out to as many lives as possible. And, I think Carl Anthony Towns is doing, setting a good example for that, this weekend.
Who I love to watch stream, and it's been cool because I watched him when he first started, and it was such a bad setup. Like, you could barely hear him, and I think he was just, like, using his webcam as a mic, too. And now he finally has figured it out, and he's got more time to do it. Stipe Miocic, the UFC heavyweight fighter. I watched him when literally he had, like, hardly any views. He was playing Blackout. Can't remember the game mode where you drop into the asylum and you had to, like, kill each other, and there was like 100 people, and it was a really small map. Can't remember what that game mode was called, but he was playing that, and he barely had any viewers, And now I've just watched him recently here. Viewer count's way up. His setup's way better. Lighting is way better. I think he understands it more now. But you would think the UFC right? Ultimate Fighting Championship, heavyweight champion of the world.
Would be doing other things.
Live streams Call of Duty
Yeah,
when he's not beating people up.
yeah, it's crazy. I think it's just goes to show how much gaming affects literally almost anyone.
Yeah, it's so cool to finally see it be accepted more than just like when I was growing up, you were a nerd if you played video games, you know. And
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
we're kind
that
of.
anymore.
I think we're start. Yeah, I think we really started to shift away from that kind of, that kind of stereotype that people that play, esports or just any sort of gaming is looked at as like a nerd in that case. I'm glad we're stepping away from that though. It's getting a lot
Absolutely.
more respect than what it, uh, for what it deserves.
So we'll kind of go through this one real quick, but I did have it down just because we talked about football a little bit. Your Super Bowl prediction. Who do you got? Chiefs, 49ers.
Ooh, so this year's a tough. This year's tough. Um, I'm an avid sports gambler, so I like to gamble on sports usually. I think the spread on this game is -1, but if I had to pick a winner, I like the Chiefs in this one only strictly because of their high pace offense. Like they can score almost any time. Like how they scored 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes against the Texans to come back and win. Um, I mean, the 49ers looked really crisp against the Packers. It was tough to see. I didn't really see any big flaws against Green Bay in that game. So, I mean, if I had to pick one, I would probably say the Chiefs. But it's definitely going to be a good game. The 49ers offense is really starting to click, too, at this current time. Jimmy G is starting to, set in pace. They actually just had a massive game from the running back, Rasheem Mostert. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. But if I had to pick one person to win or one team to win, it would probably be the Chiefs. But it would not be by a lot for sure.
Yeah, I want the Chiefs to win, I think, but I think the 49ers can edge it out. I really do. I just because their offense is starting to click really well. They looked good. Um, I'm happy to see Mahomes find success again.
Yeah,
He's proven he's not a fluke. He didn't have one good year. He's done it back to back now. And I would pick probably the Chiefs, but I think the 49ers might pull one out.
yeah.
And
See, it's a little bit different from this year and last year. Is that this year we actually have a really tight game that could be on our hands. We have a really good defense with the 49ers with a really high pace offense with the Chiefs. It's just going to be really interesting. The Chiefs defense at the beginning of the year really struggled. But they've really brought it together towards the end of the season, and into the postseason. So I mean, there's a lot of things that could go either way during this game. It could come down to 6 plays that could alter the game in the end. But I don't know. It's just something about Mahomes and how he's just a special talent, and I think that the Chiefs will edge him out, but I don't think it'll be by anything more than maybe a field goal or 4 points. It'll be interesting to watch, and I'll definitely be watching it. That's for sure.
yeah, it'll be fun to watch for sure. One other quick thing too. I don't really have much to talk about it, but the XFL is starting in 2 weeks.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
be ready for that.
I'm actually very excited about that. I'm not familiar with all the teams yet, but right now there's no Chicago team currently, so I'm not. There's no one I would really root for. But if I had to choose someone, it'd be the Seattle team. I like the Seahawks in the NFL. They're not my favorite team, obviously, but I just like Russell Wilson and how good he's been and how he was really underappreciated when it come to the draft, and he's really shown that he was worth it, and he was really a steal too at the same time. So the XFL, it's gonna be something new. There's gonna be different rules, mostly on the kickoffs and on the special teams, to prevent injury, and things of that sort. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how it's gonna turn out. It'll be definitely like a shift too, at the same time. So we're not only are we're just getting done with the NFL, and the XFL is coming right up after that. So it's almost like football year round for.
Well, I was surprised too at that scheduling because the XFL has said that they want to compete against the NFL, and then they start their season as soon as the NFL ends. But I think they did it pretty smart because all of those fans are going to shift over now, so they just gained all of those viewers, and I'm sure that's why they did that.
Yeah, definitely.
If I had to pick one team right now, I would choose Tampa Bay Vipers. They got Mark Trestman as the head coach. So
he used to be the Chicago Bears coach a few years ago.
And he's a fellow Minnesotan, so that's the only reason why I would. They got a lot of Florida State players. I like Florida State for football, and they got a lot of their players. So, I like him for that too. But Trestman is going to be – I didn't really care for him when he coached for the Bears, but now
he wasn't really anything special when he was with Chicago. But, the XFL is a whole new animal, so we'll see how he does there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one last thing to talk about, just because you've brought it up so many times, and it's going to be kind of fun to talk about again. One of the first questions you asked after the hotel was booked, tickets were bought. Your next question was, is there a casino?
Yeah, I was looking to see if you're going to bring this up. Yeah.
So, I wanted to bring it up just to have some fun. We'll close out the podcast after we talk about it, but I bring it up because you've talked about it so much the last few days. And so I want to circle around to the first time really you and I got together again, right?
It was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. I'm not for sure when it was.
Yeah, so we had talked about, making content, making a podcast. And we're like, well, let's get together and just hang out, see how things go.
And we thought, what a better spot to be than,
casino,
throwing some money on the line.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I'm excited to see what kind of – I know in Minnesota you only have to be 18 to gamble. I mean, I'm over 21 anyway, but like it's gonna be a different environment, going to a different casino and seeing see if they have like different games or something like that I wouldn't be, able to see while I'm here.
Yeah, when we went to the casino down there, you're more comfortable in there. You've been there a few times, so I mean, you know what it's like. Going into a casino you've never been to before is gonna be definitely a different feeling.
Oh yeah.
Really, I think the only casino, like, I would say I'm comfortable with going into, like, I know where things are at, would be the Boat, which is in McGregor, Iowa. Not too far from here, by the way, half hour or so, if you can make any future trips up.
Does that got blackjack and roulette?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And it's on an actual boat that's parked, obviously. But, yeah, it's super cool there. Kind of a smaller casino, but it's got, like, 3 levels, I think.
Really?
On this boat. And so I've been there quite a few times. I'm not a regular, but I've been there enough to where I would know my way around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going up to the Minnesota one, they have Treasure Island. I've been there a couple times, which I think we'll be driving by to get up to Minneapolis. So yeah, I've been to a few around this area. If we go to Mystic Lake, obviously I was there for that last gaming event. So I'll know that a little bit. But, yeah, casino. First time we get back together a couple weeks ago, throw some money down. What was it? I showed up first, and I lost, I think, $100 before you got there off just slot machines. And, like, I always hear people say, like, oh, I like playing the slots and stuff. I don't. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't like playing the slots either. I feel like I know I'm one of these people that say it's rigged and all that other stuff. I feel like the casino's out to get your money, and that's the best way to do it. So I mean, I don't ever usually play the slots. I usually play any sort of table game. I've usually played roulette, but actually, first time I ever played blackjack was with you. So you kind of broke that fear. I've been there a few times since, and I'm not saying I won every time, but not saying I lost every time either. I got more comfortable playing blackjack now. Yeah. So you kind of broke me with that little scare tactic that I was afraid of.
I remember you talking, and you're like, I've really wanted to play blackjack, but like, I don't want to go up there and look like a fool or not know what I'm doing or whatever, because you never done it before. Mm-hmm. I said, let's jump on a table, man. Let's have some fun. So I jumped in, played a few hands, and then you got in after that and played. I think, it proves that the dealer is a big difference maker, right? You get some guys that just it's like right now. Everything is right now. You got to make a decision right now. And then you get some that will slow down and play to your pace. And that is so appreciated for people like us that aren't, avid gamblers, don't gamble every single day
or
like when we have thousands of dollars.
Yeah, like when we have the dealers that actually help us out, like tell us, what's a good move and what's not.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's not that they necessarily tell you what to do, but they're like, "Are you sure you want to hit?"
yeah.
You
Like
know,
I remember.
they kind of understand that
Yeah.
you're new, and it helps when you get a good table, people sitting around you that will help you and not
Mhm.
be aggravated when you call a hit down on like a 14 or a 15. You know, because some people take it so serious, like they'll freak out if you do that.
Yeah.
When they're playing for these bigger money hands. I think there was a guy in between you and I, if I remember right, and he seemed to help you out quite a
Was
bit.
it the bigger dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bigger dude. I remember because at that time I actually didn't know that you can actually, we were playing free bet blackjack at the time, but you can double on a 9, 10, or 11. Had no idea how to do that, and the first time I did it, he didn't know that I didn't know it, so I missed it, and he then looked at me and said, "Yo, you can double on a 9, 10, or 11." I was like, "Oh, I honestly didn't know that." I also didn't know anything about the splits or anything of that sort. So, yeah, I was literally just thrown in there. I was just wanted to play it, see what happens, and yeah, that guy, he ended up telling me how to play and explaining the doubles and stuff like that. So he was actually really helpful. So having that kind of table and having like people help you around you makes it a lot more fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes that stress level off and that fear of,
Yeah.
am I making a mistake or not? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just money, right?
Yeah.
And we say that like we're rich and whatever, but we're there to have fun. We're not there to be stressed out, and
Yeah.
we go there to get rid of that stress and
Yeah.
and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, we were there for quite a while, so we weren't like we
Yeah.
weren't ever busting.
Yeah.
Not saying we were winning a lot either, but I mean we weren't ever busting. We were playing there for quite some time. I was having a blast when I played that. I've been back there a few times since then and played. And man, it's my new favorite game to go to.
Well, since we're talking about you getting started out in blackjack and stuff, do you remember the guy that was just letting his nuts hang on the table? You remember that guy? We're talking like $700 bets.
Oh yeah,
The truck driver guy?
yeah. He's like that's the kind of mindset he had. He's like it's just money.
Yeah.
It's like if I lose it, what's gonna happen now? Like,
He
it's
goes
nothing-
black chip, green chip, red chip. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Yeah, he's like
It's just
it does-
chips.
It's just chips.
I
in the
just
end.
have this amount of this many chips.
Well, he was actually winning at the same time too.
Yeah, it's easy to say when you're
When he's
winning.
winning, yeah.
When you're losing, you look like a complete idiot when you're
Yeah.
talking like that.
Yeah.
But when you're winning, absolutely. And he was just throwing them all out there, man.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
You know that meme of the South Park meme with Stan's dad carrying his balls.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Oh, yeah. And
That
like
was this
the
guy.
coat or whatever it
That
is.
was this guy with the wheelbarrow full of balls.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
I probably have seen that bets like that go down, but
Oh, I've not.
this
seen
guy was
people
so
do them.
carefree. He was sitting back,
Yeah,
just
like he's like the IRL. He's just sitting back and just relaxed and not caring. He just throw $100 chip on there,
Then
maybe
he gets
maybe two, and he's just sitting back. He's like, it's just money in the end of the day. Like, is it really that much?
Then he gets a phone call on his trucker phone. Gets
Yeah.
up and just leaves all that money and chips
Yeah.
just sitting there. Doesn't care.
Yeah.
And he was gone. We stood there
He was
waiting for
gone
him to
a
come back.
while. Yeah.
He never came back, so then we jumped on another table
Yeah,
because
I
we were
know.
just watching him.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That
he
guy
was winning,
there,
so
he
it was easy for him to say that it's just money in the end.
yeah, he was giving her everything he had, and man, it was paying off literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, super fun. Hopefully we'll get in there. I don't think we can vlog in a casino. I think
I don't
that's
know.
frowned upon.
I don't think you can, but
We'll
yeah,
vlog up until then.
we can try. Or
Go for a
something.
break of vlogging and go throw some money away, and then
Yeah.
come back out and tell you guys how disappointed we
Some
are
of-
that we
some
lost
of my
money.
friends that are watching this, they know how much I love gambling. Like Loudon and Aaron.
Shout out.
I know how much you
Hit him with the plug.
I know how much you guys have been there for me to go gambling every once in a while. Appreciate you guys. Just know that. Appreciate you guys for being one of my handymans to go to whenever I want to go gambling, wherever I'm feeling like that have that little niche to go gambling a little bit. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be healthy for us to live closer to each other because I feel like we'd be there quite a bit.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're both spontaneous, so we would go pretty much. If I want to go at 2 in the morning, hey, let's go throw a quick 40 down on the blackjack. Not that much, if we're done, it's only $40.
Yeah, it
So-
always starts out as that
Yeah, it starts out at that.
till
and then
that's gone.
until the ATM comes running
Yep.
at you.
All of a sudden, the ATM fees don't seem so bad when you're at a casino.
Yeah.
You'll do
definitely.
anything for that money.
So yeah, that's the plan for this weekend. We're gonna go watch some Call of Duty, relax, watch some high quality gameplay. then maybe just go to the casino, any nearby casino, and just throw some money down. Just enjoy a weekend away from all the stress that uh, brings within a normal week, so we can just relax and not have to worry about the stresses of work or school or anything of that nature. Just go watch what we love doing, and that's watching Call of Duty. And we both want to be streamers one day. We want to make a big name for ourselves and like spread the MPN brand. We want to get it to that, big name brand. So yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
it's getting away from everyday real life stress, right? And
Yeah.
that's why I think this podcast is a perfect name. This is just the beginning. We're just living a normal Midwestern life, and
Yeah.
we're going to share every possible moment that we have together with everybody, the fun times, and hopefully make some people laugh, make some people entertained, and share experiences that we're lucky enough to get to enjoy, whether it's the casino or CDL events or just being able to travel to see one another. I mean, some people can't even do that. So
Yeah.
we're fortunate enough to at least get to do that, and share it with everybody around the world is going to be pretty cool.
So most of the time, I won't be here where I'm at currently. I reside in Cedar Rapids, so is there a way you can do that?
Yeah, you can do video. I mean, technology's awesome.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like we could still be in communication, obviously, but like we'll still be able to do this podcast.
Yeah, and
Whenever we
and
feel
once
like it.
Cody, if he gets on board, because he'll be watching. If he gets on board with this, I mean, we all three live in different areas, so we'll have to do video podcasts for sure. I mean, we'll still get together and stuff, but if we want to keep pumping these out, we'll have to do a lot of video content, which is going to be even better. It's going to make us better as editors and producing videos, and get better at the podcast as well, because I'm sure there's always things we can get better at.
Oh, yeah,
and I think you
definitely.
have to get better as a content creator every single day. You got to come up with something new. You got to stay ahead of
Yeah, you gotta keep
everybody else.
your audience entertained.
So really that's going to wrap up our first episode, man. You got any closing comments you want to share with anybody?
No, just shout out to my boys, Aaron, Loudon, Logan, Tanner, Brad, all you guys that are gonna be watching this podcast, because I'm gonna be shoving it down your throats.
Better not miss anybody then. You just gave a shout out to
CJ.
all your
Oh,
friends.
my boy
See?
CJ. My boy
CJ
CJ.
Sturms 33.
Yeah, CJ Stearns 3. He's probably one of the best COD players out of our whole entire friend group. He's rocking a 1.7 KD.
You better not leave him out of your shout outs.
That's what I'm
He would've
saying.
been really disappointed in you.
I don't know if I missed you, Brad. Brad Wachtel. Pretty good. So yeah, I think that's all I got. Just shout out to my day one guys. Miss you all. See you soon. More likely.
All right, let's close it out then, man. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to our very first ever episode 1 of the IRL podcast. And like we said, we're going to be bringing you guys so much content here in the near future and throughout all of 2020. And we definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. Again, thank you to the MPN gaming community for making this possible. All of our members that are tuning in and supporting our videos, our podcasts, sharing content with us that we can post and use. They made a big difference in making all of this happen as well. So thank you guys. And we're looking forward to a busy 2020 year for
Definitely.
sure. So that's going to do it, everybody. Thank you guys again for tuning in and listening. Hopefully we're on YouTube right now, but maybe we talked tonight about Spotify, Apple Music, or podcasts or whatever, and getting involved in those as well. But definitely make sure to subscribe, like the video to be notified whenever we post new content for sure. And we'll get it out as soon as we can. Thank you guys. See you later.